Hello, I am Allison Caps. I am the author of The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World. And in this video, we're going to be exploring how to heal childhood trauma in a trauma-informed perspective. And this is a script I have written, so I hope you will stay tuned. This is really important information for all of us to understand that there's not something wrong with us. So I'm glad that you're here. And over the next several videos, I'll be exploring with you how childhood trauma shapes our brains, our bodies, and our lives, and how we can reclaim our nervous system, emotional regulation, and sense of safety. Many people have been told that their experiences mean something is wrong with them. And I want to show you another perspective, that what you have been experiencing that has been labeled as mental health issues or brain diseases is actually an adaptive response to survive trauma. It is not a sign of being broken or inherently defective. So let us understand how trauma impacts the brain and the body. So many people think, and the current model is, that trauma is only trauma if it is a big catastrophic event like abuse or neglect or accidents. But trauma is actually anything that overwhelms the nervous system and leaves you feeling unsafe, unheard, powerless, and unable to process and integrate the experience. So when trauma happens in childhood, our brains and bodies develop survival strategies. This is literally how our brain and nervous system develop, is through the experiences we had in childhood. So sometimes these strategies look like hypervigilance or emotional instability or intrusive thoughts or disassociation. So in adulthood, these responses may look like anxiety or depression, or even, what was in my case, psychosis. But these are not signs of a broken brain. They are actually signs of a brain and nervous system trying to process overwhelming experiences. So here's an example from my own life. When I was a child, I lived in fear of unpredictable anger and experiences that I could not control. I was currently experiencing boundary violations and control around my body autonomy. So later in my late 30s, after years of no symptoms, after somebody said, "I think you have a trauma history," I started having intense disassociation and fear responses, which looked like bipolar and schizophrenia, and I was diagnosed with those conditions. But through trauma-informed healing and through my own healing journey, I have come to realize that my so-called symptoms were just my mind and my body adapting to survival. And my nervous system could be retrained and stabilized. And I have learned how to do that and have been symptom-free for several years. True diagnoses of bipolar and schizophrenia do not allow people to recover. So there is hope for everybody. Trauma symptoms versus mental health illness. It is important to differentiate trauma responses from genetic or environmental mental illness. Trauma symptoms often emerge after unsafe experiences and are closely tied to your body's stress response. For example, flashbacks or disassociation and hypervigilance are often trauma responses. Hallucinations or intrusive thoughts can sometimes be your nervous system reprocessing integrating unintegrated trauma memories. That is not to say that genetic or biology do not play a role, but many experiences that are labeled as mental illness can be understood through a trauma-informed lens, that even for those individuals who do genetically have bipolar or schizophrenia, the responses that they had in childhood to their symptoms would have shaped the tools that they developed to handle those diagnoses. So if they had received tools and compassionate care, they would have learned how to manage those symptoms and not be overwhelmed with those symptoms. If they did not receive that kind of compassionate care and tools, their nervous system would have been overwhelmed by those experiences, and they would have not learned how to manage them, and thereby would be controlled by those experiences. So this is important information for all individuals with mental health diagnoses, that you can rewire your brain and develop tools to manage your symptoms or completely decrease your symptoms or make them go away. There is hope in both cases. So let's further break down why healing is possible. So this is the amazing thing about the human brain, is its neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to recognize itself is remarkable. So even if trauma or genetics has shaped your nervous system and your brain for decades, you can retrain it. Emotional regulation, mindfulness, somatic tools, and integration of past experiences are key tools in this process. Trauma-informed healing is about reclaiming your safety, your body, and yes, your mind. When the nervous system learns it's safe, your stress response stabilizes, and the symptoms that once controlled you can fade into the background. One of the simplest ways to begin healing is to ground yourself into the present moment. I invite you to place your hands on your chest. Take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat and say to yourself, I am safe now. My body can heal. You can do this anytime you feel anxious or triggered, and this will signal to your body and your nervous system that you have sovereignty, you have control, you do have the ability to manage and overcome what you're experiencing. If you are watching this, it means you are ready to reclaim your nervous system and your life. Healing is possible. Not because your experiences were wrong, but because your nervous system is capable of learning safety, regulation, and integration. Over this series, we'll go deeper into specific patterns, exercises, and insights to help you identify trauma responses, differentiate them from other mental health conditions, and begin to rewire your nervous system for long-term stability. And if you want to deepen your exploration, you could read my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, which is available on Amazon and other online platforms. It does deepen the tools and experiences that are in this podcast. So your homework for this video is for you to find a quiet space where you feel safe. And I invite you to place your hands on your chest and take 3 slow, deep breaths and speak to yourself gently. I am safe. My body can heal. My mind is learning peace. And then notice, how does your body feel after repeating this? Observe any tension, warmth, or calm. This is a small, powerful step towards reclaiming your nervous system and beginning the journey of trauma-informed healing. Thank you so much for watching. And in the next episode, we'll explore how childhood boundary violations affect the adult mind and what steps you can take to integrate and heal these experiences. I'm sending you such deep love and appreciation for who you are, wherever you are on your journey of healing. Know that you are not alone, and it is safe to come home. I'll see you on the other side.